Welcome back. I'm MTG Joe. Today we're going to be playing a deck that I've been seeing a bit more of recently on the ladder. It is one we lost to earlier today with our rotation-proof Golgari deck. So this is a Sultai, so blue, black, and green. And it's kind of a mashup between a ramp strategy, an elementals list, and like an Agent of Treachery deck. So basically with the deck itself, what we're trying to do is get a lot of early ramp in the form of Llanowar Elves, Leafkin Druid, Paradise Druid, to either get out an early Cavalier of Thorns, Yarok, or Agent of Treachery to steal their stuff. We also have an Elementals package of Leafkin, Risen Reef, Spark Double is basically an Elemental in this case, Cavalier, and Yarok. So these all kind of blend together and give us card advantage or ramp. And then kind of mixing into the deck, you have Neoform, which can be kind of a tutor in the deck. You sack a creature and go get another creature with converted mana cost 1 or more, and it gets a 1/1 counter. Similarly, there is Prime Speaker Vannifar that can do a similar job of sacking and searching for creatures. And then we mix it up with some Quasiduplicates to copy our like Risen Reefs or Chupacabras, whatever's needed kind of at that time. And then we mix it up with Finality to return some stuff, or board white main, Muldrotha to cast stuff from our graveyard, and an Immortal Sun to shut off all the Planeswalker decks. I found this list online just off Aether Hub. I'm not sure who originated it, so apologies for not providing credit where credit may be due. This one just made a switch. They had a mirror image, 3-drop. I just played a Nexus of Fate. Having played a lot of Sultai Field of the Dead, you tend to self-mill a lot. So I'm more inclined to have the Nexus. It's also just a way to kind of win the game just by attacking and then getting another turn. Mana base is pretty much all the duels. You got some harbors as your check lands. It's mostly... well, you got the basics here too, so we'll see how it goes. Sideboard-wise, I made some changes to the existing sideboard. This one's more geared similar to my Sultai Field deck. So we got Veil of Summer versus the control matchups, Legion's End versus Scape Shift, another Fine Finality similar to the old Sultai midrange list. Plague Mirror is something I want to try out. It seems kind of narrow. I would probably rather just play some sort like a Cryocarnarium perhaps. But this is a one-sided, so it might be why you're playing it. I played more on Mardigo versus the combo decks. I was playing offline versus Kethis combo. Lost match 1, game 2, just drew into egos, named Kethis, blow up their combo. A couple Ceratops, a couple Hostage Takers versus more of these mid-range mirrors, a Massacre Girl, and another Immortal Sun. So one thing I do want to check out when we play some more games, Prime Speaker, if she's really that good, or if we want to play a single Tameo, even though we have Immortal Sun, just as a kind of a card advantage. Hey Space, how's it going? So yeah, we're going to run it through, play some games in Ranked. We are currently Gold Tier 2. Just had the reset of the new season. So let's play it out. So we're live on Twitch today. I will be posting, hopefully in the next week or so, my full-time stream schedule, or part-time but standard stream schedule. As always, you can catch all my replays on my YouTube channel, MTG_Joe. Additionally, if you do have any requests, drop a comment. And if you can, something really close, we're close to 1,000 subs. I'm trying to hit it before the end of the month. It'd be great if you could subscribe. It's a free and easy way to support the channel. This end here, I'm going to mulligan. We don't really get to hit the elf on curve. I'll keep this one here. At this point, I'm going to go find Finality. Turn 2 elf. Turn 2 Risen Reef if we draw an untapped land is good. Vampires. Perfect. So we took a chance there to draw into the land. So same idea, if we draw into land we have Cavalier. Oh man. Neoform, probably not. I think I just want lands here. No attacks. So, you can do a couple things here. Don't have it cast down. Probably more inclined for the Chupacabra. This is when they take 4 more. Okay, I'll take 3 here. Okay, so we got a Nexus. I want to hit a land drop. And then I'll put Chupacabra and on top, block with a Cavalier here. Trade one off, Chupacabra another. Opponent's stumbling on mana. That's aggressive. So here... Oh, we could just steal one, can't we? Take 1, block. No, I think we just go Chupacabra here, keep our life total a little higher. I doubt they block here. Is this on each turn? Meaning of your end step. I want to try to catch him with this Nexus of Fate. I'll throw one of these in front of a knight. So they have the Legion. That's fine. So we have Nexus of Fate. I'm going to attack in. See how they block. So I'm going to put Chupacabra on top, and then I can steal the other Native Even Legion. You know what? Let's just take Agent. Just steal all their stuff. Take an extra turn here. Yeah, got him. They did stumble on 2 mana there, but they did play a triple Night draw is pretty good. So Legion's end in this matchup's good. The Finality, Massacre Girl. Plague Mare's interesting. Can get rid of the little things. Can get rid of Adontos, so maybe. Hostage Takers. Coming out, Spark Double, Prime Speaker. The Immortal Sun, cut down an agent. Probably the Paradise Druids. They're a little slower. Get rid of the Quasiduplicates. Put in Paradise Druid. Question if anything else. Yarok's life gain. Muldrotha gives us value. I think on the play we get rid of Nexus. Like it did well that game. Just bring in more removal. We need to be quick, so yeah, let's run it like that. Little coffee. I'm gonna keep this hand. We're missing blue, but we got some early blockers in the Leafkin. We could potentially turn 3 a Hostage Taker. Okay, so So I'm gonna Paradise Druid here. It has hexproof, so if they have Noxious Grasp, it's not as effective. So I'll just drop it all down. It's a little risky there, so we're off blue mana now. We got a Donto. They're cutting us off mana. So they ended up getting a lot more removal in their opener. If we draw blue source, Hostage Taker buys us a turn at least. We can also do this for Plaguemere. Okay, so we draw the land there. Not the color we wanted, but just play that. No attacks here. Falling a little bit behind. No blocks here. We need to hit a land, which we do. So I can go Muldrotha. Oh, actually, this will survive. Yeah, when they kill the Paradise Druid, it hurt. We're gonna put counters on our Leafkin, keeps it alive. And that wipes their board, so pretty good recovery there. Champion cycles for a card. I'm gonna Hostage Taker the champion. You're 5 mana. Slows him down a bit. Just attack in for 2 here. So it's a bit riskier. Like if they rip a Sorin, which of course they did. They sack this, they get back Champion of Dusk, which is really good. And they draw the Noxious Grasp. Jeez. What a sequence. So I'm probably gonna go Neoform for Cavalier of Gales next turn, or Cavalier of Thorns. Legion's End's not bad. So let's poke here.
You cannot hurt my hollow soul.
Cavalier will give us a land drop, hopefully. And it also fills the yard for Muldrotha. Alright. Got Agent. Pretty solid. So Muldrotha next turn. Okay, they scoop. I think we had an elf there we could have cast. Alright, want to know what the deck? I actually don't mind the Vampires deck when you're these like Sultai based versions. You bring enough removal in that it's fine. They play like 3 Noxious Grasps and a couple cast downs, but you usually have an easier time dealing with their stuff. I gotta find a new deck to play for the season. What's today? The 2nd? On the 4th, this hand's very slow, and opponent's on the play. I'm gonna mulligan. Whew. Whew. Alright, well. We got a draw step and a scry step. Let's hope this escape shift. I'm gonna go Scryland here. Oh, we need lands. I don't have much to play. Like on 3. this is Kethis combo. Game 1 we usually lose because we don't have the interaction needed. This is a matchup where they can actually go to time. So they have to ferry. See if they bounce our elf.
I know my responsibility. No, I am not making
that's the right tempo play. Just pass turn, elf will come down. Next turn. I don't know if Vannifar really does much.
I got this.
Probably just gonna go Chupacabra on the excavator. It's important to keep this out. That's what fills their graveyard. Triple tip. Okay, so we gotta ruin this blab. No Kethis early. It's a very awkward word to say. They got the Lazav, so if they mill Kethis, yeah, I probably gotta kill Excavator first. Excavator's more looks at Kethis. This they just have a draw step, so I can Chupacabra and then Quasiduplicate it. Because Lazav could become a copy of this, but they gotta pump 2 mana into it. So we'll see what they do here. Just trying to stay alive. The longer we can avoid Kethis, the better.
There's nothing.
We might need to start doing a pod chain, actually. If I can get Agent of Treachery, that might work. Ah, they got it. So they'll probably... Actually, they don't have the Mox. Ah, of course they have the Mox. They just have the 1. If they just have the 1, they might not be able to. Yeah, Space, this is... it's a little bit easier to interact than Nexus, but still quite annoying. Fibblethip costs 1, so it cycles. Okay, they didn't hit it. Actually, okay, so we got Muldrotha. So I could Quasi. I think we need to Quasi. I need to tax them mana-wise. Just pass the turn. Can't really attack here. Teferi does have a bounce, so they can bounce the Mox Amber to get. You never see the decks I play against outside of Vampires or Jank. Yeah, it's... This deck I've been seeing more of. It's a lot easier to play against post-board. We bring in Unmoored Egos, stuff like that. It's the beginning of the season, so there's going to be a lot of people trying to grind back up to Mythic. Okay, so they copy Kethis. This is a deck that also takes some time. So it's interesting to see. Some of them have been moving to play Jace mainboard so they can win without doing the loop of Kaya's Oathakaya. If they try to mill us, we have Nexus of Fate, so sometimes that times them out and they use all their resources. This certainly has been a slower start for us. So they draw 2 cards. The one nice thing is they're not going to get the mill, necessarily. They've hit 3 excavators. Maybe harder for them to combo out. We haven't seen Tameo out of them. I'm pretty good at this, guessing what Planeswalker they're playing. First Soaring, then this.
I think you will find my notes helpful.
Mox Amber. Diligent Excavator. If they don't get the second Amber... Alright folks, I'm going to become a Psychic because I'm just calling these shots as they're coming. Alrighty, we're in cruise control. So they can start looping Ambers. That'll generate mana.
I'll return my youth slumber.
Them exiling the Ashiok's pretty good for us. And the thing is, usually I'll concede to these like combo decks. But with this one here, there's a chance they try to mill us, which won't work. And in best of 3, they waste a lot of their clock. So it makes it a little bit easier for us to try to win post-board games. That'll cycle through. Just need a land. So we need to avoid the Ruinous Blast. If we can avoid that, then when we draw land, we just Finality.
Now what?
It's not necessarily like Ego's gonna break the combo they can't win. Just without Kethis, they're not as explosive. They usually bring in that 4 mana bird from Dominaria that can also loop the combo. It's just more about disrupting them. Okay, so they got rid of the Oaths, which is pretty good for us. Tishar. So now they can start bringing back all their basic, or all their legendaries. 22 minutes. Rather play vampires in mono red. Okay, so they bring back the excavator. So this should mill out. So they bring back the Mox. They're milling themselves. So they've used 7 more minutes of clock than us. And in this case here, because they might try to mill us. And we have the Nexus of Fate, so... wanna just wait it out. If we see Jace, then we'll concede, because then they'll just win through Jace. It's Oath. So I haven't seen it. Yeah, so Nexus is actually purposefully our own anti-mill tech. When you start getting a bunch of Risen Reefs and then all the elementals, especially like when I was playing Yarok field, you tend to come close to milling yourself out. So it's a way that I play around self-mill. Also, when you're in a creature deck sometimes, like in that previous game versus vampires, we basically attacked in, got him to block, and then we Nexus and get basically a free turn. So it's a more fair Nexus. It's not necessarily a combo. Got 3 cards. So they might be trying to go for the mill plan on us now. Yeah. So they basically set up a loop now where they can keep getting Mox Ambers in. But then we have Nexus of Fate, which shuffles back in. So unless they have Jace, they're not going to be able to win the game here. Because they got rid of all their Othakayas, so they can't burn us out.
You just let. This is hardly my worst defeat.
And then they're only at 6 legendaries left. So the one thing they can do is they can mill it so we just keep having Nexus of Fate. That we're forced to play it. But I'll let them waste their clock to be able to do so. Because with this board we actually can't attack in. Okay, so they have the Jace. So they just had to get to the mana. Okay, they got us. We just want to see the Jace. Once we see Jace, then they basically win the game. So in this matchup here, the Immortal Sun's very good, Unmoored Egos, Hostage Takers, and I usually like Ceratops just as a beater. The Massacre Girls can wipe the board, but they're usually a little too slow, and keeping stuff out of the graveyard's not as impactful. So what's coming out, and then we can go from there. Agent's good, Immortal's good. Yarok's too slow, I think, in this matchup. We got 6 cards. Spark Double could come out. The Finality is okay. Quasi gives us a couple shots at the same kind of effect. Prime Speaker's not good in this matchup. Muldrotha could come out. One more card. I like Chupacabra as removal. Hostage Taker can break up combo. Neoform. Do we have a curve? 3 into 4 into 5. Probably just shave a Leafkin Druid. Maybe 2. And play the Finality. Or play the Quasi. Or Massacre Girl. Nah, try Quasi. Quasi with like Agent's pretty nice. We just need a faster start than the one we had last game. Zephy's95, thanks for the follow. Sorry about that. Missed it when it came through. We cannot keep this hand. I can keep this hand. So Nexus could go back. We are on the turbo out an Agent of Treachery plan. I'm gonna go Paradise Druid here. Next turn I can Risen Reef. I got the Excavator. Ooh, okay, so if we could get that down, then it's pretty solid. Love a land. So if we draw land next turn, we have Immortal Sun down. Turn 4 Immortal Sun versus this deck should lock them pretty hard. See if they bounce our Risen Reef.
Llanowar, stand by and watch. I've got it.
Okay. Land, please. Land, please. Yes. Sweet, sweet, sweet. And now Teferi's not going to do anything. We can steal their Excavator if we want. We can do Risen Reef and Leafkin to start drawing some cards there. We get 2 cards a turn. We'll see if they have a way out of this. I always forget I have coffee when I stream, and then by the time it's done, it's just this lukewarm mess. Okay, so they go Lazav. Lazav can't really become anything too scary right now. Also the question if I just want to steal some stuff now. I think we do this turn. Let him get something a little scarier out. And then go from there. 16 minutes. They go Amber. Okay, so I'm going to steal Kethis. Ooh. Even better. I will take you. Thank you very much. I will cast you. So we don't really have many legendaries, but this does open us up to be able to steal the Lazav next turn. It's also 2 spells that if we have 3, we start drawing cards off Agent. So they did mill another Kethis. We can start attacking in next turn as well. See what they do there. Unlike Nexus decks, there's a lot of interaction you could bring in post board. So like main board, we have a hard time interacting. Yeah, here they pump a bunch of mana into it. They can cast stuff from their graveyard. So they can cast an Othakaya if they'd like. But they're only going to hit down the Paradise Druid. Does mean we can't Agent next turn unless we draw a land, but it's not the end of the world. Yeah, so they can Othakaya. The fact they exiled the other Kethis is pretty good for us. They got Tameo. Tameo doesn't do anything. Okay, perfect. So we got the land. Just gonna steal it. That should be the game. We only have a Paradise Druid for Lazav to copy. It being a 4/5 is a lot better for us. Then next turn we could pretty much dump our hand. Leafkin becomes a cycler with Risen Reef. So they're digging. Oh, they got the Ruinous Blast. Is this legendary? So we still got 8 power and Immortal Sun, so it doesn't work as well as I think they thought it would. Just attack in. And this is why, like game... so this isn't actually a Kethis, it's Lazav that becomes a copy of it, so it retains the name Lazav, it just has the characteristics of it. Keep that on top. Play our Cavalier. So now we can kind of just insult to injury. Yeah, we got another one, we got Chups. Yeah, it's a weird interaction. So Lazav's had a couple iteration. Lazav's generally a shapeshifter style card, so it becomes copies of creatures in graveyards. Alright, took him down there. So I think we run it back. That was a pretty solid showing. Maybe no Quasi. Yeah, let's maybe get rid of Quasi. Bring in a couple Legion's Ends. Finality's at least removal. Risen Reef, Chups. Like the Immortal Suns. Gets around the mill plan. Wonder if... yeah, they probably still mill us. Let's go down a Leafkin, just bring in Legion's End. It's important to break up the Excavators or the Lazavs. I'd actually like this. Okay, so this hand's sweet. So if we play it right, they drop a Excavator or Lazav on one. We got Legion's End for days. Excavator, yes! So they got the Lazav, which is fine. I'm gonna name Kethis first. And they tapped out. So it's a big engine of their deck. They also kept something on top, so it does mess up their draw. And we can see if they have the Jace in there now. Okay, so they got 2 Lazavs in hand, so we can take both of those with the Legion's End. 4 Kethis, some Teferis, Fibblethip. Okay, so they still have Jace in there. They brought in the Veil. So that's good to know. So if we get rid of the Ambers, that can also be a good way to win. So they could drop Tashar here. Kind of want to drop Lazav, to be honest. Ooh. So I can just name Mox Amber here. I think we just need to hit our land drop, so I'm gonna Risen Reef this turn. No lands might be bad. No blocks. Fibble just comes back with Tashar. Okay, sweet. So we got the land. So we can ego the Mox Amber. I think we just wait a turn. They might have the Veil, so I don't want to give them the card draw. We're not going to block with Risen Reef anyways. Next turn we can play Cavalier, which is hard for Tushar to block. No blocks. That should get us to the land that we need.
This isn't a fight you can win.
Actually, they can't have Veil. Yeah, no green yet. Thanks, Space. Okay. So this turn I could Risen Reef and Legion's End to get rid of the Lazavs. And then I can attack down to Fairy. That seems like a plan. So let's make sure you tap proper. So I really want to hit a land here. Okay, that's good. Nice thing, this exiles. Okay, so they have a Ruinous Blast.
Let's try this.
It's interesting. They do a main phase. I would have plussed with Teferi and then just... So we're just gonna Cavalier here. A couple turns of Cavalier should be good. I want to be mindful. They're holding up green, so that suggests Veil. So we want to try to double spell them in a turn. I want lands. If we draw a land, I'm probably just going to Nexus. Hold them back.
That's more like it.
Keep on top. I don't know if they realize I had reach, but we will take it. Oh, I'm gonna jam that for sure. I want to force their hand here. So before we play the Immortal Sun, we're in a pretty good spot now. So next turn I could just Nexus to get a free attack step in. Yeah, took him down. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Welcome everyone tuning in. We are 2-0 matches, 4-1 overall. So we are playing a Sultai list. It is kind of a pile, as I like to call them. So it's a mix-up of elementals, the Quasiduplicate deck, a ramp deck, a kind of pod deck. So you got early ramp in your elves and druids. You go with Risen Reef with the Yarok Cavalier Druid package for card advantage. Neoform and Prime Speaker can kind of dig you a bit further. Chupacabra's removal, which can then be quasi-duplicated. Top end, you got a Finality, a Muldrotha to get stuff from the graveyard, Immortal Sun, Agent of Treachery to steal stuff, and a Nexus of Fate to kind of loop and get extra attacks. Sideboard is a whole platter of stuff. That game there, we saw Immortal Sun shut them down. Combination of Ego of Disruption and Immortal Suns. So we'll run it back for... How are we doing time-wise? Yeah, we could do one more. We are currently up to Gold Tier 1 with the season restarting. we dropped down to a lower gold level. So it's been a little bit up and down. Usually the first couple days you get all the hardcore players coming out. Everybody's trying to get up to Mythic. I saw already some people were already back up to Mythic within under 10 hours. Hey, I can't pronounce. Thanks for stopping on by. Yeah, so we do stream live on Twitch every so often, but if you ever miss anything, all my content is available on my YouTube channel. Cool, if you could, that'd be sweet. Duress. Rakdos. Just drop the tomb down here. So this looks kind of like a brew. Yeah, I'll take a look after the stream. Rakdos Feather. Or a Mardu Feather. That's sweet. Alright, well the brews are out. The one thing that's pretty good, Quasiduplicate going to the grave. I'm gonna no blocks here. It's pretty likely they have a pump. So the Burning Prophet. So we can go Cavalier next turn. We just need to be able to survive. That's actually nice because we don't have to pay mana into it. So Massacre Girl in this matchup won't be too bad. Shock it. The fact they're doing this on our turn means Burning Prophet doesn't get bigger. No attacks. I'm going to throw a block in on this one, on the Burning Prophet. Just block here. We're getting to the point where we should be able to catch up. Okay, so they go God's Willing. So that will kill our Leafkin. No feathers good for us. Keep it on top. Okay, because we have a couple Yaroks. I'm willing to throw one out there. Even if it just gains 3. Yeah, Mardu Feather, they'll play Sorin. It's a way to have a little bit more interaction. They'll usually play Bedevil or Cast Down. Sorin can bring back creatures that get killed, and then it's also life gain. Okay, so this Arcanist is going to be a problem with God's Willing. I think we got to throw the block in front of here. If they have a pump, we just take it. We'll gain 3 life back, which offsets the damage here. And if we're able to untap with Cavalier, that's 2 triggers. Okay, so they go Reckless there. It's not the end of the world. Cavalier can get back Risen Reef. And then hopefully set up a Yarok Risen Reef turn. Keeping it on top. The Arcanist is something that concerns me because the Reckless Rage and all that will come back. Okay, so here we'll set up a Scry. Neoform can get oh, that was a mistake. I'll just push that out of the way. Because I was checking for Massacre Girl, but their board state doesn't really make a Massacre Girl that effective. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they're gonna Reckless Rage. It's a good play by them. So that's... I'll give him 7, 8 damage. So... I can't shock myself. Okay. I'm dead regardless. They have the shock. Yeah. Because I can Yarok here, but I can't shock. And then as soon as they attack, they get the shock, so... They got us on that one. If we had one more life, we might have been able to do something. Okay, so this matchup, Legion's End is very good. Probably another Finality, Hostage Takers. Immortal Sun's not as useful. Nexus isn't as useful. Spark Double could come out. These are all early blockers, so it's fine. Prime Speaker. I'm gonna bring in the Masker Girl, it's better than nothing. And then probably just cut Neoform. Mind you, Neoform in a pinch can go get... Probably get rid of the Quasi-Duplicates. Shaven Agent. Muldrotha's a 6/6. It's also 6 mana. Let's shave a Neoform. Run it like that. It's the one thing when you're playing both for our deck and our opponents, they're not common decks. So sideboarding, you usually don't... Like, you'll have stuff First Feather, but you won't have necessarily a go-to mix. So we'll keep this. I'm actually wondering if we shock here. No. Probably just safer. Conserve our life total. Okay, so we got the Woodland for the following turn. I'm gonna go Watery Grave here. Hold back just in case. So, kill the Arcade. So I'm fine to do that, because if they get the Legionnaire, I'll trade with the Chupacabra. Because then I have Cavalier of Thorns. This gives them a lot of value, so I like getting it off the board. Yeah, they shock the Elf. Not the end of the world. Next turn will likely end up being Temple plus the Druid. That's a nice board wipe after. Can also recycle these Chupacabras. And like, if they're spending time killing my stuff, that's time they're not killing us. Do I want the Reef? Yeah, probably. Might be a little slow, but we can set up a Reef. Yeah, so they're pretty desperate for some sort of creature here. I might just try to drop Cavalier and close out the game quick. They're taking their time, so... You know what, I probably should have played out Risen Reef first. Because that would have given me an idea if we drew into another Risen Reef. But we didn't, so we're not punished. Okay, we've had enough of these lands. So, we got the Cavalier here. They got the board wipe coming. I don't know why they shocked themselves for 4. Now I know. So I can Cavalier here. If we get an untapped land, I could Legion's End. Which is great versus an Odonto Vanguard. That might be enough to get the good GG. Ah, the god's willing it. So it buys him a turn. What do we have in the yard? So I might just find to get back the Risen Reef and the Druid. Okay, they concede. I think we run it back. Does Vannifar do enough? Like this can... Do I just want like a big body to trade with? Let's try it out. We did well that game. Vannifar is still a 2/4. It doesn't get the... I don't know if you've ever played Vannifar pod style decks. When you get Biogenic Ooze, it actually pumps up Vannifar because she's an Ooze as well, which is always an interaction I forget until you're beating down with like a 7/9. Waiting on the opponent. So let me know as well, chat, if there's anything else you'd like to see for the next video tomorrow. I'm probably going to go with that artifact deck I was playing, the mono blue Golos deck. I wanted to get this one. We played it against it today, and I just wanted to test it out. So when I'm playing offline, this will be my grind deck. It's got a lot of the elements I like. Anything other than Kethis combo will be dealer's choice for tomorrow. I just don't want to subject both you, the viewer, and my own sanity to play that deck. Come on, opponent. Also need to check for spoilers. When spoilers start coming out, we can start brewing some new budget decks, as well as some Brawl decks. Brawl is something I'm really excited for on the channel. I love EDH. I was considering just getting MTGO just for some EDH content. Simic Nexus I can play because I'm probably going to craft the 2 more Nexus that I'm missing just to have them for Historic. The only thing I don't like about Simic Nexus is the tapping on Arena with Wilderness Reclamation. If it was paper, I'd play it all the time. That's kind of the no fun deck that I usually like to play in paper. But on Arena it's just laborsome. Spoilers tomorrow would be cool. Okay, so this hand's not going to work. And we're going to lose this game because we don't have mana. I got to put back 2, so let's go like this. Well, it's kind of annoying. It's the variance of Magic sometimes. So we're going to shock on 1. We have no removal in hand, which is very bad in this matchup. Opponent might be timing out. Hey, as long as you have 12 mana, you can do anything. Now we're going to proceed to draw Llanowar Elf, Leafkin. I can't even attack with these stupid things. The one good thing is we draw like a Risen Reef turn 2. I think the opponent might have lost connection. It's happened a couple times today to my opponent. Earlier in the week it was pretty bad for me, but it's since been... Is the video quality okay for those watching the stream right now? I moved my router around. Yeah, opponent timed out. I moved my router around. Netflix wasn't working on the main TVs with the house, how it's built, so I just want to make sure I did one of the wired connections. Okay, that's good to hear, at least quality-wise. So I'm probably going to wrap it up. We've got about an hour's worth of gameplay with the deck. If anyone tuned in halfway through, you'll see the list on YouTube tomorrow. I'll post it on Aether Hub as well. And then as a quick note, with the upcoming arena event, the Ravnica Ford, so on September 9th it's starting. It's basically looking at rotation-proof decks. If you're looking for ideas, you can check out my YouTube channel or on Aether Hub. I've done about 20 plus rotation-proof decks, pretty much every archetype possible at this point. So definitely take a look there. If there is any rotation-proof decks that I haven't covered yet, or kind of build-around cards that you're interested in, do drop a note on YouTube or Twitter. You can message me as well, and we can go from there. Appreciate everyone tuning in, as always, and hopefully catch you tomorrow if I can get some time. If not, Wednesday for sure. Appreciate everyone. Have a good night.